I would say we're kind of back in, well, we are back to what is, a normal in-season routine with today being base, first and second down. The whole week will be, in our normal schedule. So any questions relative to this game?
Sean, do you feel like with a young team, you ever have to have a discussion about how to deal with success?
Yeah, look, yeah. I mean, you talk about this is where leadership's important. I just finished talking to him about one of the things with experience. I feel like I've been in this type of game 15, 16, 17 times, and the focus is on our preparation. The focus is on our plan, and then obviously studying the film and understanding how to win this game. And so, I like how this group's been responding, and it's our next game. It's at home, and all of those things are important.
You can get pressure on the quarterback from a variety of different angles or different positions. How difficult is that when there's not maybe a truly elite guy, but you can get it from 8 or 10?
Yeah, look, I mean, generally speaking, in our league, these guys, these quarterbacks, if left on their spot, are talented enough to make these throws, and so each week it's a challenge. We either have to affect the passer and disrupt him, or we have to disrupt the route runners if we want to affect the timing of the passing game. In other words, we can disrupt the QB or we can disrupt the eligibles. Both can be effective.
Sean, I know you touched upon Bo Nix as running before, but any part of are you surprised that he's fourth among all quarterbacks in the league in rushing? And what have been some of the keys to him being fourth overall?
Yeah, look, number one, he's fast, and I think it's a little bit of a plus maybe we didn't necessarily see to that extent. We had a couple design schemes last week, a third down run, some read option stuff, things that can help our running game. And he's smart enough to know how to protect himself. So, certainly take the first play of the game. We're going to take a shot. They do a pretty good job maybe in coverage, and he climbs, and it becomes a little bit more challenging if you play man-to-man because your eyes as a cover player are on your player. And so we did I felt more zone as that game played out a week ago. And so certainly it's an asset.
John, you guys went through nearly the whole season with the same starting five up front last year, but it's not the norm. You guys have dealt with a few more injuries up there. What do you like about how that group is sort of?
I think we're deeper. I think we're deeper. And yeah, you'd like to be able to stay healthy, but we understand that that's not always the case. And so certainly guys getting playing time. Maybe some of them have had playing time. I know Pert's played. A number of these guys have played. And so you're constantly trying to develop that back portion of your roster in the event that guys have to step up when necessary.
Could you develop the mindset to win on the road? Found a lot of success with that. How do you translate that to home?
Yeah, good question. Look, I think the schedule's been good. We may have played, a couple good teams at home. But that being said, we have to take advantage of the crowd noise and certainly a fast start.
So what challenge do you see in Bryce Young? I know he hasn't had a great start to his career, but
Yeah, I think he's got good vision, a quick release. He shows accuracy, poise. He's played in big moments. In other words, I remember him coming out. He's played in, real big moments. So, I think that look at it, you flip the focus when you have a change in quarterbacks from like one to the other and then study it as best you can.
Recognizing it's a matchup league week to week, but do you need more from the passing game from the tight ends, and how much could that help both? At least the both?
Well, look, I think it's a great question, and I think it's one of the quarterbacks' allies because, you know, generally you get some of these coverages that they're not necessarily doubling the outside, but the individual matchups are in the triangle inside with the runner and the tight end. You know, there's one play where he's climbing and we just miss Lucas, and we're one play away from not having to answer that question, but it's a good question. We'll keep working that.
Coach, you mentioned so much about Audrey Gessman. You want to see a little bit more from him. Want to see some ball security issues early on. How do you nurture his confidence while still emphasizing protecting?
Yeah, fair enough. Look, we've seen the ability and the skill set. Javonte has given him a present today where he'll have, you know, a ball for a week wherever he goes. But I think it happens to young backs a lot because at this level, the ability for players and the point of emphasis of taking the ball away, it steps up a lot, you know. And so historically speaking, it really wasn't until, you know, those 90s where Lovie Smith and, there were a handful of coaches that began to value the takeaway maybe over, not necessarily over the proper tackle, but they understood, and then it quickly caught on to our league. In other words, the Peanut Tillmans, and man, you just saw what it did to a game. And so I think it's coached and so we try to as best we can with these young players, you know, give them up the river medicine, in other words, before there's a problem. But now, you know, he's someone that if we're scouting him is someone who's fumbled. And so now you got to kind of earn your way out of that. And he will.
John, when it comes to the intermediate passing game, when you look at the film, what are some things you guys feel like you can improve on to?
I think the big thing is third down. That's the thing that tonight that's the thing we have to improve on. You know, in other words, we have our chunk plays, there's, you know, but the third down numbers, those are possession downs really, and we have to be better there. That's the thing that, to your question, and that generally comes in short, intermediate, or long, but based on what you're getting defensively. But we have to be further along there.
Sean, what are your thoughts on having Pat Surtain back in practice, and is he good to go on Sunday?
He's still in protocol. It looks positive.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks positive.
You've talked about the importance of October in the NFL. How would you evaluate where your team is and how they perform this month?
Well, we're right where our record says we are. What was our first game in October? It's not a trick question. I'm asking, like,
Raiders.
that was October. And then, so the Jets was September. All right. So, what are we, 2-1 in October? Then that's where we're at. But I do think it's important. I think it's important relative to, are we getting better? Certainly we saw growth, you know, at home against the Raiders last weekend. There were a lot of good things on a short week, and that's why the focus, and I know the focus has to be inward. There's no, like, you're ascending or you're not, and if you're not, you're probably descending.
You've mentioned the pass rush, but also both tied for the fewest sacks taken in the league. You guys are number one in sack differential. How has that kind of played out?
It's huge.
Field position balance, or
It's huge. And I say this all the time, a sack is much like a penalty, loss of down. And so it's hard to overcome. You get a holding call, at least you get the down back. But, and so I think that's significant. And that's something we saw, you know, in other words, we saw that a lot in college. You know, he's good that way.
I asked because several players have been traded already. you get in conversations at this time now with George about buyers, sellers, in terms of your roster?
No, he might come in occasionally, either way. Like, in other words, he might walk in and say, hey, we got a call, or, you know,
Do you go to him?
no, we talk daily. You know, it's kind of like homecoming's 2.5 weeks away, and everyone's kind of putting out their feelers to see, but it is, and you know, and so, yeah, I think pretty much daily it would be normal for him to walk in, and we might, hey, I got a call from, and you know, those are like feelers, you know, that, and so I'm really focused on this team, and yet all of that you have to pay attention to, and yeah.
Sean, Zach Allen, you were with him all, he was here all last year, but it feels like he's at a different level. What has he done differently that?
Man, I don't want to use the comparison. He plays a different position than Cameron Jordan, but they remind me of each other in their respective positions, in that they play with really good stamina. And, you know, it's hard to do. It's like you're wrestling, you know, and so when play 48's the same as play 3, or, you know, just the consistency in a position where, you know, we do have a rotation. It's important because it's, you know, every play is like, you know, a 6-second wrestling match, and it's tiring. So there's a discipline and man, and then there's a skill set. And so those are traits that remind me of Cam, and Cam played more the end. So, but those are really good traits.
Coach Cortland Sutton didn't have any catches last week. Did
Yeah.
he do something? Was that just how the week?
Oh, I think it's a fair question. I told him, you know, the best thing about Sut is after the game, he didn't flinch, and so we got to keep finding ways, because he's certainly a great weapon for us. It was kind of the way, man, there were a handful of calls that were intentions where he's primary, and whether it was coverage or whether it was rush, that can change, but we'll keep working on that.
Any long-term concerns about Malcolm Roach?
No, he's got a bug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's illness, and so we just, he's got a fever, and that's what that is.
Cody Barton's named AFC Defensive Player of the Week. So
I saw it.
what do you think?
Man, proud of him, and certainly when you look at the game, he was one of the guys on defense that got a game ball. So it was a real good game for him. All right, thank you guys.